Why does Jungkook's name appear just as Maryland prepares to welcome BTS? And is the praise attributed to the state's governor really nothing more than a tribute to a superstar? Or is there a far more interesting reason behind the special attention? The question becomes increasingly difficult to ignore when all 7 BTS members finally arrive at one of the biggest stages of their 2026 world tour. Baltimore is not simply the next city on their concert schedule. For BTS, the city represents an important part of their United States leg of the Arirang World Tour. And for fans, 2 nights at M&T Bank Stadium offer the opportunity to see RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook perform together again after a long period during which the group's activities were put on hold. But amid all the attention surrounding BTS, one name continues to become a magnet of its own: Jungkook. Why him? Why not just BTS as a whole? And why is it that whenever discussions about BTS's global appeal enter the territory of the United States, Jungkook's name so often appears in a different way? This is where things get interesting. Before going any further, there is one important fact that must be separated from the various narratives circulating on social media. As of the time this article was prepared, no official, verifiable statement from the office of Maryland Governor Wes Moore was found explicitly saying that he gave special praise to Jungkook ahead of BTS's concert in Baltimore. The governor's official website does document various activities by Wes Moore in Maryland throughout 2026, but searches of the available official materials did not reveal a specific statement concerning Jungkook. That means that if there are posts, videos, or quotes circulating on social media claiming that the governor of Maryland specifically praised Jungkook, the claim should not immediately be treated as an official statement until the original source can be located. But this is precisely where the story becomes much more interesting. Because even though the specific claim about Governor Wes Moore's praise has not been verified, the reason Jungkook's name can so easily become the center of attention actually has a strong foundation. Jungkook has built a reputation as one of the BTS members with an exceptionally strong global appeal. His solo career has expanded public recognition of him beyond his identity within the group. More importantly, he is no longer known simply as BTS's youngest member, but as a main vocalist who has repeatedly received recognition from professionals within the music industry. One particularly clear example comes from Diplo. The Grammy-winning producer and DJ spoke about his experience working with BTS on the Arirang project. In his interview, Diplo praised all of the BTS members as creative musicians who were deeply involved in the music-making process. But when discussing Jungkook, he gave particularly specific praise. Diplo highlighted Jungkook's vocals and said that Jungkook has a perfect voice without autotune. That statement matters not because it came from a fan. Diplo is a producer and musician who has worked with many major names in the international music industry. Therefore, when he specifically highlights Jungkook's vocal ability, the compliment carries a different professional context. And this is where the Maryland question comes back into the picture. Could the attention surrounding Jungkook actually be something that did not appear out of nowhere? Possibly. But we must be careful not to turn a possibility into a fact. What can be confirmed is that Baltimore is indeed one of the important cities on BTS's 2026 tour schedule. The concert schedule lists 2 performances at M&T Bank Stadium on August 10th and 11th, 2026. Local media have also reported BTS's arrival as a major event for the city. MarTV reported that the South Korean group would take over M&T Bank Stadium for 2 nights and perform with all 7 members, including Jungkook. For Baltimore, BTS's arrival means more than just a music concert. A stadium filled with tens of thousands of people means economic activity, visitor mobility, transportation needs, hotels, restaurants, security, employment, and media attention. Even the local community has used the momentum for social initiatives. One example comes from the Army for Baltimore campaign, which connects the BTS concert with fundraising efforts for organizations supporting Baltimore's children and youth. One of these initiatives offered concert tickets as part of a fundraiser for Beat the Streets Baltimore, an organization that provides wrestling programs, academic support, and mentoring for young people. So when BTS comes to Baltimore, It is not simply 7 artists who arrive. It is a global phenomenon. And Jungkook is one of the most important faces of that phenomenon. At this point, we begin to understand why the question, why Jungkook, is so compelling. Because the real question is not simply why a governor would praise a singer. The question is, why does Jungkook have the ability to make conversations about BTS extend beyond the boundaries of the music industry? Over the years, Jungkook has developed within BTS from the group's youngest member into one of the most recognizable figures in South Korean pop culture. That journey did not happen overnight. He debuted with BTS at a very young age. From the beginning, his position within the group was closely connected to his vocal ability and performance skills. As BTS evolved from a South Korean group into one of the biggest names in global music, Jungkook also developed under an increasingly intense international spotlight. But being a member of the world's biggest group also means facing extremely high expectations. Every performance is watched. Every vocal note is analyzed. Every stage movement is recorded. Every fashion choice can become news. And every solo project has the potential to be compared with the group's achievements. Jungkook faced all of this at a relatively young age. What is particularly interesting is how he eventually used those experiences to build an individual identity. The success of his solo songs allowed international audiences to become increasingly familiar with Jungkook not only as a BTS member, but as an artist capable of standing on his own. That is an important transformation that is often overlooked when people focus only on streaming numbers or popularity. An idol can be extremely popular because of their group. But when the public begins to recognize an individual's voice, style, and personality even when the group's name is not mentioned, a major shift in perception takes place. Jungkook has reached that stage. And when he returned to perform with BTS in 2026, all of his solo experience came with him onto the group stage. That is one of the reasons the Arirang concert tour carries special meaning. This is not simply an ordinary comeback tour. BTS returned as 7 members after a period of group activities affected by the members' mandatory military service. Their return subsequently became one of the most anticipated events in global music. In coverage of the United States tour, Baltimore was included among the cities visited by BTS. 2 concerts at M&T Bank Stadium were scheduled for August 10th and 11th. And just before those 2 nights, attention surrounding BTS increased once again. Not only because of the concerts, but because of the larger question. How can a South Korean group create such enormous appeal in American cities? The answer is not simple. BTS has 7 members, each with different characteristics and strengths. RM has strong leadership and communication skills. Jin has a distinctive vocal character and persona. Suga is known as a rapper and producer. J-Hope possesses tremendous performance and dance ability. Jimin has a unique vocal character and performance style. V has a highly recognizable vocal color and persona. And Jungkook possesses a combination of vocals, dance, performance, and pop appeal that makes him highly adaptable to the global stage. It is precisely this combination that has allowed BTS to endure. However, in Jungkook's case, there is one particularly important characteristic: versatility. Jungkook is able to move between group music and solo projects without losing his identity. He can stand at the center of BTS's complex choreography and then transition into a solo song with a completely different performance approach. He can perform pop music with a modern approach and then return to BTS's signature sound. This kind of ability has become extremely valuable in a global music industry that increasingly requires artists to move across markets. And Diplo's praise provides an interesting example. When a producer like Diplo talks about Jungkook, he is not simply discussing popularity. He is discussing musical ability. He highlights vocals. He highlights creativity. He highlights BTS's professionalism. And he specifically mentions Jungkook. This is where the why Jungkook narrative finds its foundation. Not because Jungkook should be considered more important than the other 6 members, nor because BTS depends on one person. Quite the opposite. Jungkook attracts attention because he is part of an extremely powerful system called BTS, while simultaneously possessing individual abilities that allow the public to recognize him separately. That is a rare combination. Imagine a group with 7 members, all of whom have strong identities. If one member is capable of generating enormous individual appeal without weakening the group's identity, then the group effectively possesses 2 sources of strength at the same time: collective strength and individual strength. Jungkook exists at the intersection of those 2 forces. That is why his name so often appears when BTS steps onto the international stage. But there is one more thing that makes the Maryland moment interesting. BTS is not performing in a small concert venue. They are performing at M&T Bank Stadium. The stadium is not simply an ordinary event location. BTS's Baltimore performances are part of a large-scale stadium tour. Event data indicates that the stadium has a capacity in the tens of thousands, while various local promotional materials describe the 2-night event as a major occasion for the Baltimore and Mid-Atlantic region. At this scale, every detail becomes more visible. The sound of the crowd, a sea of light sticks, cameras, local media, social media content, and, of course, every moment involving the BTS members. Jungkook does not need to do anything controversial to become the center of attention. Sometimes it is exactly the opposite. His live vocals, his interactions with the audience, spontaneous expressions, small movements on stage, even simple reactions to the atmosphere inside the stadium. Moments like these often become content that spreads long after the concert ends. This is the unique nature of modern fandom culture. A concert does not end when the stadium lights go out. The concert continues through short videos, photos, comments, clips, fan accounts, and discussions across social media. A single Jungkook moment lasting only a few seconds can be turned into a short video and viewed millions of times. That is the power of the attention economy. And public officials live in the same world. They see how an international event can bring enormous attention to a city. For a governor, the presence of a global concert can be viewed from multiple perspectives. There is the economic side. There is tourism. There is culture. There is public diplomacy. And there is the image of the region itself. Maryland, under Wes Moore's leadership, has actively promoted Baltimore as a city with a strong future. In various official statements, Moore has repeatedly emphasized economic development, Baltimore revitalization, infrastructure, and opportunities for residents. In March 2026, for example, Moore described investment in improvements to Oriole Park as part of Baltimore's revival and as a symbol that the city and state were moving forward. In April 2026, his administration also announced a transit-oriented development strategy for the Baltimore region, with the goal of improving connectivity, economic opportunities, and the quality of areas surrounding public transportation. So, in the broader context, BTS's arrival in Baltimore certainly fits the narrative of a city seeking to present itself as a major destination. But does that mean the governor personally gave Jungkook special recognition? Not necessarily. And this is where we must distinguish fact from interpretation. Fact number 1. BTS came to Baltimore. Fact number 2. Jungkook performed alongside the other 6 members. Fact number 3. The concert took place on a stadium scale. Fact number 4. Jungkook has strong international recognition, including professional praise from figures such as Diplo. Fact number 5. The official office of Governor Wes Moore does not show, in the verifiable sources available, a specific statement mentioning Jungkook ahead of the concert. Therefore, if content claims that the governor of Maryland praised Jungkook, we need to ask, what is the original source? Is it a video? Is it a personal post? Is it a direct quote? Is it an official statement? Or is it simply a headline made more dramatic to attract attention? Those questions are not meant to diminish Jungkook's popularity. Quite the opposite. They demonstrate just how much public attention surrounds him, to the point that even a rumor involving a public official can immediately become a topic of discussion. And this phenomenon is important to understand. Global popularity is not measured only by the number of fans. Popularity can also be seen in an individual's ability to move from one context to another. From music to fashion. From concerts to media. From South Korea to the United States. From the entertainment industry to cultural conversations. Jungkook has been on that journey for years. He has been part of a group that has performed on some of the biggest stages in the world. He has also developed solo activities. He has received attention from international media. And he continues to be one of the BTS members most easily recognized by the global public. But there is an interesting irony. The greater an artist's popularity becomes, the more difficult it is to distinguish between fact, interpretation, and internet narratives. One sentence can become a headline. One comment can become an official acknowledgement. One fan post can be treated like news. And when Jungkook's name is involved, the spread can become even faster. That is why the title, Why Jungkook, is so compelling. But the real answer may not be as simple as because he is popular. Jungkook has been in the music industry since a young age. He grew alongside BTS as the group transformed from a South Korean act into a global phenomenon. That growth happened in front of the cameras. Every stage of his career has been documented, and the public has been able to witness that transformation. From the youngest member, who was still very young at debut, to a performer capable of standing before a stadium filled with tens of thousands of people. That is what makes Jungkook's journey so compelling. Not because he is perfect, but because his career demonstrates how a performer develops as global pressure increases. The Baltimore concert provides another glimpse of that transformation. Years ago, BTS had to prove that a Korean group could have a place in the American music market. Now, they arrive as one of the names capable of filling stadiums. The difference is enormous. And Jungkook stands in the middle of that journey. When he sings in front of an American audience, he is not only carrying his identity as a Korean artist. He is also carrying years of experience on the international stage. He understands how global audiences react. He understands media pressure. He understands cameras. And he understands how a performance can go viral within minutes. That is why a small moment from Jungkook can often become a story of its own, even when the concert is officially a BTS event. This does not mean that the other members receive no attention. Quite the opposite. Each member has their own fan base and individual appeal. But Jungkook possesses an especially powerful combination of vocal position, dance ability, stage experience, and solo popularity. That combination helps explain why he so often becomes one of the focal points. And perhaps that is where the real surprise lies. It is not that the governor of Maryland mysteriously chose Jungkook. Rather, Jungkook has already reached a point in his career where attention toward him can emerge even when the main event is a group event. That is a far more factually plausible phenomenon, and a far more interesting one to analyze. Because if an artist can carry individual attention into a group performance without reducing the strength of the group, then that artist has reached an exceptionally high level of public recognition. Jungkook is an example of that phenomenon. We also cannot forget that BTS itself has a long history of building relationships with international audiences. They are not a group that suddenly appeared in 2026. They have spent more than a decade building their identity. They have experienced changes in music, and even changes in the members' personal lives. Yet when they returned as 7 members, the global response demonstrated that the relationship between BTS and its fans remains extremely strong. Their concerts are spaces where that relationship can be seen directly. Baltimore is simply one point along that journey. But the location carries its own significance because it is part of BTS's return to the American stadium stage. And when Jungkook stands there, he is no longer simply BTS's maknae. He is a global performer who has experienced a solo career, international projects, media pressure, and enormous public expectations.